Well, as we celebrate Freedom Day, we ask the question, how free are we really? Now, at the Apartheid Museum today, a lively debate took place between Transport Minister and SACP General Secretary Blade Nzimande, as well as broadcast commentator Eusebius McKaiser. And our eNCA's Nickolaus Bauer is there, and we're now crossing to him to find out exactly what transpired. Nickolaus, it's been quite a riveting debate for those that were watching the actual live conversations that were taking place. So some issues around education came up, which were unavoidable. But your sentiments in terms of the going-ons of the day, and also just what the room was like in terms of people's perspective around the country and the state of freedom, especially considering the fact that we've got a few days until May 8th.
Yes, good afternoon to you. An extremely vibrant debate here at the Apartheid Museum with Transport Minister Blade Nzimande and radio broadcaster Eusebius McKaiser. And let's also not discount the great contribution that the audience members made, a lot of which were school children that took time out of their Saturday to come and join this debate with 2 weeks left until elections. Let's chat now to the moderator of the debate, Karima Brown. And Karima, extremely vibrant conversation that we were having with the Transport Minister and Eusebius McKaiser, and of course the audience members. And perhaps maybe one of the most important parts was not necessarily Blade Nzimande admitting the failures of the ANC government, but at least grappling with the very real problems people are facing.
I think what we saw today was a representative of the African National Congress government basically telling the story of the difficulty of governance, the mistakes that were made, and he made plenty of admissions, but he also held his ground on the fact that the freedom that we have, as patchy as it is as a consequence of the struggles waged by the people and the African National Congress. So it was a mixture of being very candid and very frank in admitting the mistakes, and that we can always do things better, but also holding his ground and saying, for example, the ANC's ability to have social cohesion has been one of the reasons why South Africa hasn't dissolved into tribal wars that you've seen in other parts of Africa. The ANC's contribution to electrification, its massification of the education system, and so on. But of course, he was challenged on the fact that whilst those things were a good beginning, they simply do not go far enough. He was challenged on the quality, and of course, the one thing that someone from the Eastern Cape actually said was he was always taught about the three issues in South Africa: inequality, poverty, and of course, joblessness. But the fourth thing is, of course, corruption. And the minister speaking very candidly about that, and speaking about the president's commitment to return South Africa to the state of, to the rule of law, and that those accountable will be held responsible. But I think for me, the beauty of today was the fact that you had an audience that was engaged with the complexities of South Africa. People weren't looking for simple answers. They were asking very tough, very real questions informed by their lived experience. And both Eusebius McKaiser as a public intellectual and Dr. Nzimande as a General Secretary of the South African Communist Party coming at the debate from different philosophical ends, being very open, being very candid, and having a very robust debate. And then I think for me the final takeaway here is that whatever is wrong in our society, and as much as government has power, we mustn't outsource that power to politicians, and we need to exercise leadership and also make decisions about what it is that we want, what the quality of our lives should be, and be active citizens. And I think the Apartheid Museum is a fantastic enabler to stimulate that kind of conversation that happened here today. It was a great pleasure for me to moderate the debate.
Before we leave things here from the Apartheid Museum, there was a fair amount of obfuscation on the minister's part. And you think it was slightly rich of the minister to call on citizens to play their role, and indeed he even called on students to march on Vodacom and MTN to see the cost of data fall, when this is coming from a man that's seen and tasted political power for the past 2 decades.
Yeah. I think what we need to understand is what power is. So if we say this is our government and they serve at our pleasure, then it means that we can hold them accountable. So the minister's call for people to march is a call to action, and to even march against them. But I think the minister also needs to accept that he has power. He's got the power to implement policies. He's got got the power to make a transport system more efficient. And so we must all play our role. And the one big missing chair in the room, of course, was corporates and their responsibility to understanding the quality of the 25 years of freedom that we have and what needs to change for that freedom to be qualitatively different and deeper as we go forward.
Garima Brown, the moderator of this debate on Freedom Day. How free is South Africa? It was a question attempted to be answered in this debate by not only Dr. Blade Nzimande, the Transport Minister, but also radio broadcaster Eusebius McKaiser. Days to go until the election, and another critical moment where South Africans need to decide what role they'll play in the country moving forward.
Well, thank you very much.